What's up, everyone? Welcome to After the Buzzer. This is the video series that we do in relation to our podcast, Game Tape Rewind, where we take a topic that's related to the main episode and we talk a little bit more about it in depth, and give it a little bit more of the love that it deserves. On our episode of Game Tape Rewind that we just finished recording, we talked about the European Super League and some of our relationship and history with being a soccer fan in America. What we didn't talk about is how that relates to MLS. And I think a lot of our experiences here and attending live local soccer have tended to revolve around MLS.
Yeah, we are fortunate, where we live to be in a sports market, between the Jersey, Newark, and Philadelphia area. And for me, one of the first major sporting events I've ever been to in my life was an MLS game, which is the Philadelphia Union. And for me, even as big of a basketball fan and, even growing up baseball fan as I was, going to Camden Yards before and things like that, I really like just going over to Chester and watching the Philadelphia Union play.
Yeah.
It's not too expensive, but you would think that almost every game you're at the title game for whatever, championship it would be. The atmosphere is great. And, soccer just commands, I think, that kind of camaraderie, the singing, the chanting, the local kind of feel to it. So we've been fortunate to go to some games together as well. So for me, the MLS has been an awesome reprieve because it's not this, you got to plan a week ahead. You just buy the tickets maybe the 2 days
Yeah.
day before and show up.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot easier to navigate than trying to do something where you go see one of the big European teams. Obviously, that goes without saying. But the
Mhm.
fact that they also make it so easy once you're there is a big bonus as well. And I can't speak to some of the teams that are the LA Galaxy or any of those teams that
Mhm.
are in the massive major markets, but growing up, I think I have a similar story as you, where one of my first big sporting events was a New York, New Jersey Metro Stars game at the old Giant Stadium. And I think if I remember correctly, they played DC United when Freddie Adu was there.
Wow.
If that's wrong, somebody please correct me. But and it was so much fun, and it was like it kind of sucks to say, but the crowd wasn't large, so you got good seats. They were still loud though, and the soccer itself was still pretty high level. Since then, as you mentioned, we've been to a couple of Philly Union games together. Um, I was fortunate to see the DC United at the old RFK Stadium, which was an experience for sure. That place deservedly is not hosting MLS games anymore. Um, but when the Metro Stars became the Red Bulls and started playing outside of New York and sort of in that the new stadium Red Bull Arena outside of Newark, I went to a few games there, and that place is beautiful. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not that hard to get to. It is a soccer specific stadium, so you're like right on top of the field. Makes for an awesome experience and an atmosphere. And then we still got to see some of the biggest European teams come play when they come to play their summer friendlies. So I saw them play Tottenham when they were over with Harry Kane. And I got to see them play Juventus the summer of the 2010 World Cup. So a
Mhm.
lot of their biggest players weren't there, but it was still cool to see them play and see these teams that you kind of only see on TV, and you're not really
Yeah.
sure, am I ever going to see them here? Plus, it also helped that at the time, the Red Bulls had just signed Thierry Henry. So you still had that
Yeah.
influx of really good talent coming to play for these teams. And I think that's only gotten even better.
Yeah, that's the big change is, probably the past 5 or 6 years, you have seen some of the guys who are just maybe even out of their prime coming over to the MLS from major teams. Like, we got to see Zlatan play, which is, probably the
Mhm.
biggest profile player that we'll probably ever get a chance to see in the MLS. But however, even for a while, like, teams like the NYFC,
Yeah.
they had Andrea Pirlo, they had Frank Lampard, David Villa, and those are three of my top five favorite players of all time on the same
Yeah.
team. And I still rooted against them. which just shows you kind of the uniqueness of like you wanting to settle down with the team here. But you can see some of these stars come over and play. I mean, David Beckham is the perfect example of that and changed MLS forever. So I even have a David Beckham Galaxy shirt. Anyway, so it's I hope that trend kind of keeps continuing and that these players come over here and they don't really phone it in. I mean, they really play, which is great.
Yeah, I think they quickly learned, that this is not it's not a retirement league, as so many fans of other leagues are quick to try to point out. But
Mm-hmm.
I think I think the other than Zlatan, I mean, who would you say the biggest name is that you saw? I think mine might be either Thierry Henry, but from an international perspective, either Harry Kane, not Harry Kane.
Mm.
I think I said Harry Kane before. I meant Gareth Bale.
That's pretty
this was
big.
this was back in the day, and then I saw Kaká at a game in Orlando, which was
So I
pretty
mean,
cool.
yeah, the Orlando that would be key. I saw Orlando play as well, and Kaká. I also should mention I saw a Seattle Sounders game in Seattle when Clint Dempsey was there as well, which was pretty
Oh, that's
cool from
cool.
an
Yeah.
American standpoint. But yeah, I would say the NYFC game I went to. I don't think Lampard was there, but I remember watching Pirlo and David Villa, which was really I actually wore my David Villa Spain jersey because I was rooting for Spain that year and really liked them. So it was kind of cool
Yeah.
to go there. But that, yeah, so already, and I've maybe been to 15 games or so, I'd say MLS games. I've seen some of soccer's greatest international stars of our generation, and that's something that's hard to really have ever imagined if you followed the MLS, 10 years ago, outside of maybe David Beckham and a few others.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the moral of the story is, you don't have to look across the pond to try to find a team to root for.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that if you're listening to this and you're in a major or near a major city, there's a team for you can find. There's also a lot of other feeder leagues like the USL that are putting forth some pretty good teams in competition as well, and they're easy to root for. And I think that the beauty of it is that MLS and those other leagues make it easy to root for them. So it's only getting bigger. I think it helps that they have sort of the reverse season of most of the major soccer leagues. So it's not like they're really competing with much. So I would encourage everybody to go see a game.
Absolutely.
It's not a huge time suck. The games are 90 minutes, whether it's a good game or not. They don't take timeouts. They don't go into extra innings or anything like that. So and usually it's pretty easy to get a ticket. So
Yeah, definitely. We'll take you. Anybody who wants to go to their first game,
yeah, hit us
hit
up.
us up.
If you're in the Philly area or you want to pay for our flights to wherever you are,
Yeah.
we'll come join you for an MLS
You're
game.
thinking now, Chris, you got it.
Well, make sure you check out the episode of Game Tape Rewind about the ESL and our relationship with soccer. We appreciate you watching and listening. Leave your comments below about your experiences with MLS and going to soccer games here in the US, and we will talk to you next time.